prefer to support them. I am part of our union. And so I'm going to work in such a way that I don't create expectations that are unfair to the people that don't get potentially the same compensation that I get. Okay. So no late work after 2:45 on December 14th. Whatever you got turned in at that point, that's it. Bingo. Nothing else will get graded. Okay, so those are some of the things that are coming up. So here we go. Let's take a look. There is no logbook because you're going to do your portfolio. Okay, and that's just going to be enough. I don't need your logbook at this. There's a site plan to do. There's a couple of drawings to do. We'll work on these things next week. Portfolio planning template and your portfolio. And here's your final exam. Just so you know, you're going to draw this thing. Front, right, and top view. Front view, right view, top view. Okay, I'll even do a demo of it next week. I'll demo it. So you'll even have a video of me doing it, right? But you know, what do you see from over here? What do you see from over here? What do you see from up here? Okay, and you have 2 hours. Actually, if you do it online, you have forever. You have a whole week, right? But I'm sure most of you either want to be done early or you have mean teachers that give you a lot of work. Okay, not like me. Not like me. And you can all say that on pickaprof.com or whatever that's called. Nicest teacher you've ever met. I'd like somebody to say that once, right? Usually they go, oh my gosh, it's so hard. He moves so fast. I got a good grade, but that class was hard. Okay. Somebody is going to go, God, what an easy class. He was the nicest person ever. You don't get extra points for that, though. Okay. So there we go. Let's look at the Design 100 site plan. So now it's kind of hard to look at like this. So I'm going to download it. And then I'm going to open it up. And then I can do this kind of cool thing called twisting it. There, that's what it looks like. And this is, we're going to do what's called existing drawing. We're not going to draw the parking lot or this stuff, even the house. We're just going to put in a building pad to show where this is. We're going to do the civil part of the drawing, which is the property lines, the setbacks, the elevation markers, and then we're going to add contour lines. Okay, and we're going to do that in 2 separate drawings. And there's a few things for you to know. One, and I'm going to do them kind of both together. But one is you'll see that this starts at an elevation of 120, then goes to 126, 125, 125, and 124. Well, you can't really measure that. You don't, that's 120 from where? Sea level. You don't want to run to the ocean to get your baseline or anything like that. So usually every project has something called project 0. And that's where when you're standing on the site, you count from there all of your other elevations. And sometimes it's plus, sometimes it's minus, but there's always a project 0. And I've chosen this as project 0. So that's going to be an elevation of 0 on our markers. Okay. So what would this elevation be? 6, because it's 6 more than this. This elevation would be 5. It's 5 more than this. Elevation 5. It's 5 more than this. Elevation 4. It's 4 more than that. And there's always, there's sheets and sheets and sheets of any type of real drawing set. And somewhere on there, there's your project standards that would say my project 0 is actually 120 feet from sea level. Okay. But they're going to mark this, and that's where the guy with the rod is always going to take their back sight to figure out what's my baseline. Okay. A setback just means that I can't build anything on the other side of it. You can't build fences and structures and things like that. And those are usually set by the zoning of the planning department. Okay, so either City of Sacramento or County of Sacramento. Sometimes there's an HOA. But so this one just says a front setback of 30 feet. You can't do anything for the first 30 feet. And on the sides, 10 feet.
What does it show 30 feet?
Says front setback 30 feet. Kind of hard. Let me make this a little bigger. Yeah. So that's just a leader text. And the side setback and rear setback of 10. And then the front edge of this is 50 feet from the property line. The other edge is 40 feet. And it doesn't really tell you, but this is that building you've already done. So it's 36 by 24. Okay. And we're going to ignore all this stuff. So it's not too complex of a drawing. Now, the other thing you have to know is, what is this? Right? I mean, and I'll tell you, when I interviewed for this job, they said, do a lesson about bearings. I said, cool. ABEX 7, deep roller bearings, thrust bearings. It was right up my alley. And the group that I was, the interviewers were just looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I go, well, what do you mean? They go, like north 45 degrees east? God, they still gave me the job, so I must have taught them something. But I had to learn all this stuff. I didn't know what it was. So here's how it works. This line is 150 feet long, and you make it by drawing it straight to the north 115 feet, and then rotating it 3 degrees, 15 minutes to the west. That's how you read these. So this one down here said, draw a line 110.45 feet long, and then rotate it 68 degrees, 52 minutes to the east. And it comes out there. And then we always remember that there's always a symbol there, but in our program, if you don't see the symbol, up on the page is north. Somebody forgets to put the symbol in, straight up on the page is north. And that's just something that all of our professors have kind of agreed to, so we don't get, too much in a tizzy whiz if somebody forgets it. Okay. And that means that this is east, west, south. Okay. So you have to kind of know your compass a little bit. Okay. And then you have to also know this degrees and minutes and seconds. There's 360 degrees in a whole circle. But if you're going a long way and you're off by a degree, that can become a big amount within a couple of thousand yards. You're going to be off by quite a bit. So each degree is chopped up into 60 parts called a minute. And that's because the clock makers were able to make the instruments that measured this. And the clockmakers all used gears that they could make that were really kind of from the Middle East and South Asia, because they knew how to bust things into 60s and 360s, because you can do that geometrically, not nearly as hard as 50s or 10s, things like that. So that's why we have these weird measurements. Okay, but just know 360 degrees in a circle, each of those degrees can get broken into minutes, 60 minutes. And then if you're really getting careful about it, each minute can go 60 seconds. And after that, they've got something else and something else. And so you can really get fine. You can imagine if you're going to the moon and you're off by a couple of seconds, you know, you're going to hit Jupiter before you hit the moon, right? So over long distances, it's a big deal. Over short distances on a little site like this, it's not a big deal. Okay, so that's how we read this thing. Now I'm going to move it out of the way and I'm going to draw it.